All right, Steeler fans, it is time for the second half of this Monday podcast, and I decided to have some fun. I was going to have Jeremy Jerome Betts on. He's actually traveling. He's not able to join me, so he'll be back for the All Bets Are Off segment this week, leading up to Week 13's game on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. But I thought, you know what? This week is Thanksgiving. This Thursday is Thanksgiving in the United States of America, and Wednesday's show is going to be jam-packed like it always is. Keys to victory, updating DEFCON levels. We're going to dive into the mailbag, all that stuff on Wednesday. And so I was like, I don't have time in the Wednesday show to talk about why I'm thankful for the Steelers. And the Friday show, well, that's going to be after Thanksgiving. So that doesn't make much sense either. So what I decided to do, let's do it on Monday. The Steelers played on Thursday. I don't have the winners and losers segment here in this podcast. So let's do it. So I thought of 10 reasons why I am thankful for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And these could be, sometimes they're very general. Sometimes these could be very specific to the 2024 team. Nonetheless, here we go. No particular order. Why am I thankful for the Pittsburgh Steelers? The first one, they are always competitive. They are always competitive. I was talking to a fan the other day, not a Steeler fan, actually a Cleveland fan. And this guy was talking about, you know what? He said, I hate the Steelers. And I said, don't worry, it's mutual. And we were laughing about it. He said, but the one thing I hate the most is that the Steelers are always in the mix. They never have years. And he pointed to this year for the Browns, where you just know you're not going anywhere. You know you're not making the playoffs. You know you're not winning the division. He said, which that's something Cleveland's never done anyways. But he said, I hate the fact that they're always there. They're just always in the discussion. He goes, man, it drives me insane. I'm thankful for that. People that want to say mediocre Mike and we're going to celebrate the win, always having more wins than you don't, because now with an odd schedule, odd numbers of games, they're always competitive, and I'm thankful for that because it could be a lot worse. It could absolutely be a lot worse. It doesn't mean that I don't strive for them to be better, but at the same time, I look at it and say they're always competitive. I'm thankful. Let's go to the next one. I'm thankful for the Steelers' history and tradition. When you think about the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's not just, you don't just think about like TJ Watt. You don't think about George Pickens or Minka Fitzpatrick or Cam Hayward or even Najee Harris. No. You think about the team and the organization that is steeped in tradition and history. It goes all the way back to the Ernie Stautners of the early 60s. It goes to the 70s dynasty. You go to the 90s and you talk about the Blitzburg defense with Greg Lloyd and Kevin Green and Chad Brown and LaVon Kirkland. You go to the early 2000s and those offenses with Jerome Bettis, and you've got the defense with Joey Porter Sr., and you've got James Harrison and Super Bowl victories and Troy Polamalu. Not every team and fan base can say this. Go back to what Dante Jackson said when he was asked about a trap game leading up to the Browns game. He said, what is that? And they were trying to explain it to me. He said, guys, I've played for the Carolina Panthers my whole career. These situations did not happen often. That's the other side of the coin. So I'm very thankful for the Steelers' rich and deep history and tradition. Next, I am thankful for the Steelers' stout defense. And yeah, people might be down on them now because they gave up. They had a loss. This team had a loss in the snow to Jameis Winston and the Browns. But this defense is still really good. And they still were able to get 3 takeaways on that day. Should have been enough to win. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But nonetheless, I'm thankful for the defense. It's anchored by Watt, Hayward, Fitzpatrick, Patrick Queen. You got a good mix of young players, Joey Porter Jr., Keanu Benton. Very thankful for that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Next, I'm also thankful for an improved offense. I'm thankful that for the majority of this season, we've had a professional play caller for once. You'd have to go back to Todd Haley's era because I didn't think Randy Fichtner was fit for the job. I know Matt Canada wasn't fit for the job. Arthur Smith, while he didn't have a great game in Week 12, he has done a good job switching up quarterbacks after 6 games. That's not easy. I think the longer this season goes, you should see him and Russell Wilson get more comfortable together. This improved offense, I already mentioned it in the first half, now averaging 22.9 points per game. You compare that to last year, that is close to a touchdown difference. That's fantastic. So great to see. Very thankful for the improved offense. They're fun to watch again. It's been a while. Let's go to the next reason I'm thankful. Some very special teams. Yes, Danny Smith's crew have proven to be very special indeed this year, whether it's Calvin Austin's return for a touchdown. We've had blocked kicks, blocked field goal attempts. We've had Chris Boswell doing his thing. And outside of one shanked punt at a really inopportune time, Corliss Waitman has filled in tremendously at punter after the Steelers lost Cameron Johnston for the year with a knee injury. So I'm very, very thankful for some very special teams. And I often think to myself, what else lies ahead for this group? Do they have another return in them? Could they maybe have a kickoff return? We haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen a kickoff return in a really long time. Do they have a blocked kick that's going to be scooped up and scored for a touchdown? For the first time in a really long time, and I've said this before on the podcast, I'm old enough to remember when Danny Smith, fans wanted him fired so fast. They wanted him on the first bus out of town. But I can't help it now, the way that this special teams unit is playing, I can't help but think to myself, I'm waiting for the next play to be made. I'm waiting for the next big play to be made. That's awesome, and I'm thankful for it. Next, I am thankful for the Steelers in my family being a family tradition. It started out when I was a young kid, being just, it was church on Sunday, and then you came home and watched the Steelers play. And when I was really little, it's like some of my kids, their age, I was more worried about playing football outside than I was watching football inside. But I'd always run in, check on the score, stuff like that. I'd hear my dad and his buddies, if he had anyone over, yelling, and I'd come running in to see the score. Some memorable moments. I know my brother and I still always talk about the playoff games. My dad, our families would go to one of his coworkers. We would go to his house, and it would be a raucous environment, and the beer would be flowing. I was not consuming, but I was pouring. I learned how to pour from a keg at a very young age. And it was just very memorable, and it became like traditions and stuff like that. And so for my family, my mom watches the game. My dad obviously watches the game. And even though it's changed a lot now, we don't get to watch a lot of games together. The text chain I have with my dad and my brother during games, in between games, it is awesome. I'm very thankful that the Steelers are a bond that keeps our family together in some way, shape, or form. And I'm sure I'm not alone there. The next reason why I'm thankful for the Steelers is that I'm excited to extend that family tradition to the next generation of fans. And I didn't realize this, honestly, was how many of my listeners, and I'll talk about this in a second, are young fans. They're fans that they grew up towards the tail end of Ben Roethlisberger's career. Maybe their earliest memory is Super Bowl 45, a loss to the Green Bay Packers, and Ben Roethlisberger didn't go off the field hoisting a Lombardi. They lost. And so I'm excited for the next generation of Steeler fans. I'm excited for the next group. That was once me. That was once all of us that are in their 40s, that we were that group. And now it's our job to pass the torch down. I've never believed, Coach KT Smith, I always give him crap because he just let his kids choose whatever team he wanted. And one of his sons is a Carolina Panthers fan, and his youngest son is a Detroit Lions fan. Like, coach, come on, man. That's like malpractice. I didn't force it on my kids, but let's just say that they didn't have much of an option as to who they're going to hear about, who I talk about, who we watch, and they end up being the next generation. They're already starting. I can feel it. It's exciting. I'm thankful for that. Next, I'm thankful for my role covering the team. Recently, for some odd reason, it's not odd, I'm very thankful, I've had people reaching out to me, some overseas. I've gotten emails, Twitter DMs, Twitter mentions, just saying, Jeff, I just wanted to thank you and the SCN crew. They say things like, your team has made me a better fan. I thoroughly enjoy listening to all the podcasts. You guys get me through work. You get me through every day. We've had people that say, hey, I've gotten emails before from people that they're sick themselves, or maybe they have a family member who's not well. And they say, you know what, for the 30 minutes to the 45 minutes, the hour, when I turn your guys' podcasts on, everything else just kind of goes away. I don't think about anything else. And I've had people, especially during when everything was shut down in 2020 and shortly after, people say, Jeff, you guys, your podcasts have gotten me through this. It's a really weird time. I don't take for granted my role covering the team. And I always respond to those people, whether it's email or on Twitter, and say, look, I appreciate these words because it gives us validation that we're doing this hard work and it's actually paying off. When I say it's paying off, it has nothing to do with amount of money earned. It has nothing to do with the amount of downloads. It has everything to do with the fact that we're reaching fans, and fans are there and they're listening and they're enjoying it and they're coming back and they're like, this is awesome. That's what we wanted to build. We wanted to build the Steel Curtain Network that is not just podcast, but a website, steelcurtainnetwork.com, where every single Steeler fan can go there and they know a couple things. Number one, we're always going to be here, no matter what. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're going to get Let's Ride. I've taken my microphone on vacation. I've taken it when we traveled back to where I'm from. I take it everywhere. I don't miss shows. Okay. If I'm sick, I will suffer through it. If I have to stop a million times and cough, it doesn't matter. But still, I'm going to do the show. We're always going to be there. You're getting content that is from fans. There's no company line for me to toe here. I stand by all of our content on the written side and the podcast side. And my role, our role covering this team, I'm very thankful for it. The fact that I can call this a job, I'm very honored. And it's not light. I don't take that lightly. Let me put it that way. All right, two more here. I'm thankful that the Steelers are 8-3. I am thankful that the Pittsburgh Steelers are 8-3. And I'll tell you why I'm thankful that they're 8-3. Is because could it be better? Absolutely. You lose to the Colts, you lose to the Cowboys, and you lose to the Browns. People are going to say, well, what if? Could they be 11-0? Maybe, sure. I don't know. But I will say this. I look at this and say, this team is 8-3. In the first half of this podcast, we talked all about the final 6 games. And we talked about, man, this team they got to get ready for it. And I'm here for it. I want to see what this team can do. You got to think if they win 2 of their final 6, you're a 10-win team. You might need a few things to go your way, but you're probably in. You win 3, you're an 11-win team, punch your ticket. You win 4, shoot, you might be in the mix. You might be in the mix for a number 1 seed, definitely talking AFC North crown. This is going to be exciting. I am thankful that they're 8-3. I am excited for the finish. Let's see what this team can do. And the final thing that I'm thankful for, I'm thankful for those 6 Super Bowl trophies, and I put in my notes 6 Super Bowls and counting. I firmly believe that in my lifetime, I hope I live a long time. We'll put it that way. I'm 41 years old. But in my lifetime, I'm going to see them win another Super Bowl. In my lifetime, I'm going to get to watch a Super Bowl with my kids. The last time the Steelers won a Super Bowl, my son, who just turned 16 years old, was an infant. And I pulled him out of his crib, wrapped him in a terrible towel. My brother was there. We were celebrating. My wife wasn't too pleased because I woke up a sleeping baby. My bad. But nonetheless, I'm going to experience another Super Bowl. So 6 Super Bowls and counting. That's what I'm thankful for. Absolutely. I hope you're thankful for the Steelers because I'm thankful for every single one of you that's listening, watching this podcast. I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart that you are a part of this community, the Ride or Die crew, Steel Curtain Network, you name it. We are all one. We are a fan base. We stick together through the good and the bad. So let's get you ready. Make sure you stay tuned for all of our content. Today at 11 o'clock, we're going to have a Here We Go Steelers show with Coach KT Smith and Brian Davis. We're going to have a full lineup for you this week, and I'll be back on Wednesday. But make sure you're on the lookout on Tuesday for the mailbag tweet. Tuesday morning, I'll put out a tweet. You can find it on Twitter at jhartman, HARTMAN_PIT. I'll answer all those questions live on the show on Wednesday. But that does it for me. Man, here we go. Let's get ready. Let's buckle up. Final 6 games, but you don't finish out these shows. Be safe, be kind, and God bless. Have a great start to your week. We'll see you on Wednesday. Go Steelers.